Hello and welcome to 10 Lessons Learned, the podcast where we talk to leaders, experts, extraordinary individuals from all over the world to uncover the lessons that have shaped their careers, their lives, and perhaps their business. The goal of our program is very simple: making the world a little wiser, one lesson at a time. My name is Siebe Vanderzee and I'm your host. I'm based in Phoenix, Arizona, in the beautiful Grand Canyon state, where I'm also known as the Dutchman in the desert. Our guest today is Tere Derbez. Tere was born and raised in Mexico. She is a well-known artist with a lifelong passion for both painting and writing. Her artwork has appeared at exhibitions in Mexico, United States, Canada, Spain, and in France. Interestingly, Tere started her career as an entrepreneur in the textile industry. She studied public accounting, got a master's degree in education, a PhD in psychology and counseling, but then at some point in her career, Tere's true passion for painting and writing took over. And she decided to dedicate her time to her lifelong passion, always looking for new forms and techniques of expression. In other words, Tere is very creative. She did not only become an artistic painter, but she also became a successful writer. She writes articles for 2 weekly Mexican newspapers and for a monthly magazine named Mindfulness. Tere has also written 2 books with poems and a novel named El Ángel de Sofía, the Angel of Sofia. What a beautiful name. By the way, that is also the name of her foundation, which is focused on helping young people and adults from marginalized areas. It all sounds wonderful. You can learn a lot more about Tere Derbez on our website, 10lessonslearned.com. Hello, Tere. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. I'm so honored to be here with you, Steve.
We are very happy that you're going to join us in this conversation about your lessons. But I'm also impressed. I did a little bit of background research on your artistic career, your life. Where is your passion for painting and writing? Where is it coming from?
I think I started very young. I think that I was.
You still are.
Yes, I am. By heart and by age, chronologically, no, but by age, yes. But I started when I was probably 10, 11 years. I am didactic or myself. And I started to paint and to draw. So my mom saw that, and thank God I had wonderful parents. She bought it the first canvas and she gave it to me with the paintings. So I started to paint. And I remember that my first painting, real painting, was a little baby Jesus in 2 angels. That's how I started. I really believe in that. And I love to write. I love to talk also. So I started writing since I was very young, making poems and silly things when you are young and you just write. And now, thanks God, I have been writing for 2 newspapers in Mexico, El Sol de San Luis and El Sol de Bajío, for more than 25 years. Every week.
Yeah, it's amazing how active you are and indeed have been for so many years. How would you describe your painting style? Because what I've seen, it's very artistic, very colorful, but perhaps you can explain to our audience what your style of painting is.
I think that I am a little surrealistic.
Surrealistic, yes.
Yeah. So my painting is very surrealistic. I have some paintings realistic. I have 2 or 3, and some religious that I love that part of me. But I am too realistic. So most of my painting is surrealistic, and probably because of my Mexican roots, I am very colorful. I love colors. I love the pink, the real pink, the yellow, the orange, but in bright colors. So my paintings are very bright, most of them.
I always find it interesting. I'm not an artist by any means, but when I think of artists, I admire who they are, but it's that moment that inspires people. And it could be any moment of the day or sometimes any moment of the night that the light goes on and say, oh, I need to either paint this or write this. Is that something that is part of who you are as an individual, that it's
Yes.
from within?
Yes. Sometimes I remember once I was traveling by plane, and I always have my notebook to make sketches. And I was drawing a painting of my granddaughter. She was 5 years. And a guy told me, the guy who was on my neck, he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I am drawing my granddaughter." And he laughing. He said, "I used to bring pictures and you are painting." So that's the way
Yeah,
something comes to my mind and I write, or something comes to my mind. And I always have a canvas, empty canvas, always at home.
you're ready.
Yeah.
I like it. Of course, we're going to talk about the 10 lessons that you have learned in your life, in your career. But before we get to the 10 lessons, I was wondering, if you think about your experience, is there perhaps a lesson that you have learned that you wish you would have been able to teach yourself when you were, let's say, 25 years old?
Yes, there are many. So one of them is the technology that now the technology came and we don't, people at my age, it's harder to know how to use it. So that's one of the lessons that I would like to have. And the second lesson is to be more conscious of not of the future, because I have always lived in the present, but more conscious of what am I going to do when I grow up. Because sometimes you think life is so funny that I can tell young people that what they expect from the older when they grow up probably is not what they are dreaming now. So the let's
Interesting.
live today. Just
Interesting.
enjoy every day.
I like it. And I know in your lessons, we'll come back to some of that. And I look forward to that. So let's take a look at your lessons. I have lesson number 1. Life starts with family and it ends with you. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that?
I was very lucky because I grew up in a very nice family with very nice parents. No violence, no screaming, no dramas. So we had dramas, of course, because every family has dramas and every family has some yelling and not good and very good times. But mine was more the good and the bad. One starts with the family. I think that when you grow up, you learn all the things that you have to learn from your family. When you keep going on, you start to have the teachers, priests, everything that is around. But the family is the basic. But what happened with your family? What you learn with the family is your support. Those are your columns. But if your family wasn't the nice family, let's say, because I have seen now in counseling, what you have to think is that life ends with you, not with your family. Not everything that you hear, not everything that you live has to be the same way that you have to live or that you learn. I remember my father was very wise and he always told me, don't trust in anyone, not even in me, because I am old. I forget some things. I see life different from what you are living. So that's a lesson that I want to tell people. Live your life, take you the good part of your family, but don't take the part that you don't like.
Very important, very helpful. And of course, I'm thinking family, yes. And I have that same experience with my family. At the same time, as we both understand, sometimes people grow up not in a family that is, let's say, blood related, but in a community. And I think it works the same way, right? It starts with the people who take care of you, who are with you. But as we go through life, you as an individual become the person that drives it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to move because it's so easy to say my parents, my brothers, I was poor. Okay, that was your past. What is your present?
Yeah.
That was your family, but you are not the whole part of the family. So what are you gonna do with your life?
I experience in Spanish-speaking countries in South America, for example, that if you build friendships, they become hermanos, brothers. And I know it's different, it's not blood related, but that closeness to recognize, hey, we have a special relationship. And it's many times referred to as a brother or a sister in the Spanish language, especially.
Yes, I have one. That she's not my blood relation, but she's
Yeah,
my sister. She,
yeah,
I know that if I take the phone, I can call her and cry or laugh or whatever,
exactly.
right? Because that's the way that we grow up together.
Absolutely. Let's move to lesson number 2.
Yeah.
How to overcome difficulties in life as a single parent. That's a tough experience.
Yeah, I got divorced when I was 30 years old in a city that is San Luis Potosí that is not easy because we were like a small society, even that is a big city. So when you grow up alone and you have 2 kids or 3 or 5 or whatever, it's not easy to go and find the world that you have to live.
Yeah,
Because, and I am going to refer a little about women, because women, we grow up, and more women of my age, or even 60 years, we grow up with the idea that we were going to have the prince. Everything was going to be solved. You were going to get married. The prince was coming in that beautiful white horse to take you home. And when you realize truth is different, your family culture is very different from the person that you got married. And sometimes things don't work. So I believe that it's better to finish a relationship that is not okay, even that it has a lot of consequences for your kids and for yourself. Life is not easy. It's not easy for women, even now, I think, because you have to take care of your family in many ways. Sometimes, like in my case, I had to support them in all the aspects, money and spirituality and work. And thank God I had my parents who helped me a lot, but some others don't have. So to go to a world that is designed for men, even now, even that people says no, the liberation and the empowerment of women, it's not true. We have that feeling. We are mothers and our parents, fathers. We are parents and we have to take care of our family. We have to take care of our work or our job. And we have to take care that we usually don't do when we are young of our spiritual part, even the physical, because now the physical is so important. So everybody goes to the gym and walks and do and blah, blah, blah. But the spiritual part is so important. And we don't see that when we are young, that we have to grow up in that part because that's the only part that you can be sustained. If you don't believe, I believe in God, but if you don't believe in something solid like God or universe or whatever you want to say it, it's going to be very hard to go not against the world because you don't have to go against the world, but to flow with the world and to flow in a medium where men sometimes don't know how to treat you.
sure. Now, I think being a single parent, of course, it happens, let's say, all over, but people who have not had that experience perhaps sometimes underestimate how difficult it can be to be a single parent because it's 24/7. It's every day, especially with little children. And yes, you have to do your job, and yes, you have to communicate with other people, but those children. So I think it's a very important point to make the role as a single parent.
And the funny thing is that sometimes, even if you are men or women, you cannot share the responsibility. That's the first thing.
Yeah,
The second thing is that you don't know how to treat them, even that you think, and you don't realize how much can impact that division. You
yeah,
know? And now with this modernity that they have to live 1 week with the father and 1 week with the mother, I think that is even more hard for both sides and for the
Sure.
kids because they don't have a place that is secure. No. Because when I got divorced, okay, the kids stayed with me, so they saw his father when he wanted. But in this moment that they have to be one in one, one in one, I think that is really hard for a man or for a woman because we have a lot of emotions when we got divorced or when we split or when someone dies.
Yeah.
We have a lot of emotions. And sometimes you are so immersed in your own emotions that you don't realize the emotions of your kids. And it's very common.
Yeah, no, very important point. It's almost like we could dedicate a separate podcast just to that topic, right?
Yeah,
But let's move on to lesson number 3. Not everything that shines is made of gold.
that's true.
I like it, but what do you mean with that?
Okay. We, and more in this time, we think that beauty, money, be successful, whatever that means, be recognized and have many portraits or people who call you, you think that is gold. And sometimes we are so astonished about the car that my friend has or the family that she or he has. And when you realize, when you see, when you go deep, you realize that is not true. That is just shining. I shine for society. And now with all the communications, the Facebook, the blog, all the Instagrams, etc., of course, when you go there, you don't show what you really are. You show your beautiful part,
Yeah.
vacations, the work. If I got something else in my work, I publish and I say it, and everybody says, oh, and I am doing nothing. I feel terrible. And that is creating anxiety, depression, etc. to many people because you are just watching, what not what is the reality.
Yeah.
And also in us, sometimes you think that what you are, I have no wrinkles. Of course I have. I'm no wrinkle. I am beautiful. That's shining. What is inside you? For me, that's the most important. So that's why I say not everything that shines is gold.
It's a lot of wisdom. I like it.
Yeah.
Lesson number 4. I was curious about that one. 7 jobs will bring you 9 misfortunes. I have to figure that one out. Help me out.
And I can tell you, my father always said that because he came as immigrant from France to Mexico long time ago during the revolution, the Mexican Revolution. It was a very interesting life he had. And I remember that he always told me that. And it's true. If you go, for instance, sometimes we move from a job that is our perfect job because some other person or job tells you that you're going to win 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 more. And you move and you realize that 2 years later, they tell you, okay, I don't need you anymore. And probably if you were in the same place where you left, that you left, you would be perfect in that place and you'd be growing. And it's the same with business. Some people start business and they are growing and then they want to put another because
Sure.
or because they see that the guy in front of me, he put tacos, so I am going to put tacos too. I sell burgers, but now I am going to sell tacos. And what's going on is that you miss the essence of you and of your job. So when you jump from one place to another, you don't, in Mexico, we say, piedra que rueda no crea moho. You can translate. Stone that rolls don't make the mold.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's true. If you go and go and go and go, you never make a base for you and for your family.
It's very realistic, right? It's the point that you're making is that there are challenges and there are unexpected challenges. And you have to be prepared instead of saying, oh, it's going to be one step and then next step and here we go. Things change and unexpectedly sometimes. And we have seen that in all of our lives, that suddenly things happen and it changes everything. I can think of many examples of that, but it's a very good lesson to have and to share. Lesson number 5. I like it also. Don't expect anything from anyone. Does that mean you had a bad experience?
Not exactly bad experience, but I have experience. I think that when you expect from people, for instance, I usually am very generous. I love to give, and I don't expect anything. The truth is that in my deepest, probably I expect something, even from my kids. And when you don't get that, you start feeling like, oh, they don't love me, or these people don't take care of me, or I am more valuable for this job and they don't realize that I am valuable for this job. And so you start moving and remember that your thoughts make your life. So why is better not to expect? Because if you receive, you just say thank you. And if you don't receive, you say thank you. Because that's one of the things that I have learned. Not expect anything from anyone. If they give you something, welcome and thankful. If they don't give it, welcome and thank. But it's hard to learn that because we're always like in an interchange. I give you love, you give me love. I give you money, you give me money. I take care of you when you are a kid. Now I want you to take care of me when I grow up. And it's not the way that goes usually.
Do you think that there are differences when it comes to, let's say, countries or regions? If I think of South America, if I think of United States, I get the feeling that in South America, the family is really part of your life, whether you're young or whether you're old. And that's not always the case in other countries, Western countries, where it's more, hey, you got to take care of yourself and you cannot always rely on your family, perhaps. Do you feel the same?
Yeah, I think that the cultures are totally different.
Yeah.
I can tell you because I have been living in both sides. I feel, I don't say that it's better or worse, it's different. In Mexico, for instance, we are more close, even friends, even if I live outside the country
Yeah.
and I have something, my friends call me and tell me what happened, if you got divorced or if you are sick or whatever, and you lost your job. Here, people is more, let's say, in person. So if you die or you live, it's okay. Nothing happens. It's your problem, not mine. So
Yeah.
that's the difference of the cultures that I.
Yeah, and that's obviously there are differences. There could be people in South America that don't connect to their
Yeah,
families, and in the United States that the family is very tight knit
yeah.
and helping each other. But yeah, I see cultural differences there as well. We're talking today with Tere Derbez, a well-known and highly creative artist with a lifelong passion for both painting and writing, sharing her 10 lessons learned. If you like our podcast and value in our episodes, please consider supporting 10 Lessons Learned. Whether it is sharing the show with a friend, or leaving a review, or checking out our affiliate partner, Audible, it will help us continue bringing you the lessons that matter most. Speaking of Audible, they are a fantastic way to enjoy 10 Lessons Learned, alongside thousands of audiobooks and other inspiring podcasts. Whether you're on the go or relaxing at home, Audible makes it easy to build a library of wisdom. You can try it for free for 30 days at audibletrial.com/10 lessons learned. All right, moving on, Tere. Lesson number 6. Don't control, let it go. Wow, how do you do that?
A lot of patience and prudence. You have to be calm. I am a controller. I have to confess. I am a controller and I had to learn, and I am learning how not to take control of everything. Why? Because there are things that you can control, and the only thing you can control is yourself. If you don't control yourself, you are not going to control anyone or anything, any situation that you live. And one of the things that I have learned, and more now that I am coaching, is that we have the tendency to control. I want to control my kid's life. I want to control my job or my work. I want to control my body. And you can do it if you learn to control yourself. And if you learn that nothing is to control, you have to flow. It's not easy. It's not easy because we want to have the control because that is ego. The ego is one of our best parts in the world. The ego, if you control your ego, is going to work on your side. If you don't control, it's going to work against you. So that's the part that we have to control. So please let it go, flow with the universe, flow with the things, accept. I think that one of the lessons is acceptation. You have to accept yourself the way you are, knowing that you are perfectible, not perfect, and that you can move to perfection. Probably you will never get there, maybe when you die, I don't know. But you can work to be more perfect every day, not the perfection. And that's the way that you can let it, knowing that, okay, today I made a mistake. I didn't do a very good job. Okay.
Oh, you do.
Don't complain with yourself and don't say, I am so silly. I knew this answer. And sometimes we are in something like this. And when you finish, you say, oh, I should say this. I should say that. That is control. You didn't say, so you didn't have to say. So it's very hard to not control, but it's very easy to learn how not to control. When you realize that nothing belongs to you, not even yourself.
And of course, it's difficult if you want to help someone, or if someone who is working for you is maybe not doing the job correctly, because then you have to advise that person how to do the job. Or when it comes to a family member, with your passion, you want to help that person, but it can sometimes lead to you're controlling that person, right? So you have to place a boundary somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. Or he puts the boundary.
That happens too.
I don't want you to tell me when I had to do.
Exactly.
Okay, whatever. I was just trying to save you.
Yeah, but I like what you're saying, because it's important for me, for you perhaps, to put a barrier there and say, okay, I cannot control it. I have to give them space and freedom to do whatever they think is the right thing. And in the end, of course, you can confront them with the results and say, I would have advised you to do something differently, but this is how it came out. And I think that happens in life every day.
Yeah. And what I have learned is that not even to tell them when they had the mistake.
I know.
That's very human, and I have done many times.
I like it. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. And I still do it. I think that we have to learn our own lessons. It's hard for a parent, it's hard for a boss, because you have done the same mistakes. So what you don't want is people to do the same mistakes that you did. But they have to learn by themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And it kind of leads to lesson number 7. Love is all you need.
Yes. I think that I am a passionate of love. I love my life, even with all the mistakes, with all the issues that I have had in many ways. But I love I love who I am, and I love myself. And I think that one of the things that we haven't learned, because since we grow up, they show us that love is to give love, but to others, not to yourself. When you start to think and realize that the only person that born with you and died with you is you, then you start to realize that the only person that has to be in love with you is yourself.
Interesting.
If you don't love yourself, you cannot love other people. If you don't love yourself, you cannot love what you are doing. And you cannot be passionate because love is passion. If you are not passionate about what you are doing, even with all the faults, and some days, that you wake up and you say, my gosh, what am I doing in this world? I don't know. But then you realize that you are alive, that you have a body, that you can think, that thanks God you have a coffee. So all that you realize, and then you start to love yourself and say, okay, I made mistakes. I went in bankruptcy twice, and maybe this is not my best time. Maybe I have wrinkles, but I love myself and I am happy with me. So it's very hard, but I think that love is the only thing you have to be happy and to believe in yourself.
Loving people and people around you and knowing that they feel loved, if they feel happy in their lives, that should give you some satisfaction as well, right? Even if you can.
Yeah. I think that if you are like you and me, that we are talking and to the public that is listening or is going to listen, if they go out from this talk without something that make them feel better, then it means that we didn't do it.
Yep.
So that's what I try when I am with people, to give not the best of me, to give them the best of them.
Yeah, I like that.
Because everybody has something nice. Everybody has, even people that you see and you say, oh my gosh, this guy, have never seen him one smile, is because he probably has so much pain inside that he doesn't know how to show it. And the only way that he knows to show it is to be grumpy or to be mad or to be screaming or yelling. So when you see that, you say, okay, I'm going to give him something that makes him feel better with him. Not
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a very good point. Lesson number 8, learn how to use your energy. How do you do that?
oh my gosh, so much energy that I have to control, that I have to control. We have energy. We are energy. We are all energy. And you can feel it. Sometimes you go inside a room or with a boss or with your husband or your wife or your kids. And even when they come in, you can feel the energy. And you say, oh my gosh, this guy is not good. So, how to control your energy? We all have energy. One of the ways is meditating. The second is breathing, but real breathing, because we don't know how to breathe. That's one of the lessons that people has to learn, how to breathe. It's not just, as we say, but sometimes you have to take
Take
the
a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
very deep breath, sustain the deep breath,
Yes.
then go out. And you can do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the key. So how to control your energy? If I feel that I am getting upset, I have some techniques that is not the case in this moment, but one is breathing. The other is this finger that we say that is not a good finger. That's the finger of the anger. So just pull the finger and breathe, and then that calms you. How to use your energy. Don't spend your energy in silly things. I like to go party, yes, but not every week, or not drinking like crazy, or not smoking what I don't have to smoke, because that's wasting energy. So you want to go, are you mad? Go and walk. If you don't run, walk. That's the way to waste the energy or to control the energy in a good way.
Yeah.
And if you use your energy, wisdom, you can do a lot of things during all day, giving space to everything that you have to do, using the energy that you have to use. Don't use the energy to be mad. Use your energy to write. Use your energy to exercise. Use your energy to cook, to work, not to be mad. And with a lot of energy in silly things.
It's a very interesting point because I had to think of it as a recruiter when I interview people. I was taught years ago by my boss to pick up the energy. And he always said it doesn't mean people talking fast or people talking loud, but it's a drive, it's a passion. What is on their mind? And like in your case, being an artist, a painter, that's part of your passion. And I'm sure your energy that goes into that. And I think it's very relevant for people to be aware of the energy that they carry forward. And obviously, especially if they're going to a job interview, but in general, on a daily basis, what drives someone and make sure that they can feel that passion, that they can do the things they want to do in their lives and in their work and with their families.
I would like to ask your people and how much energy they miss every day complaining or yelling or not trusting.
Yeah.
So that's it.
But it perhaps it comes with experience for people as they mature in life, that they put things in a bigger perspective. That could happen, of course. And if I think about that, looking at lesson number 9, how to love your life as you grow older, because you and I both know that over time things change and your perspective of life and maybe the job that you have can change. But if I think of our audience, up and coming professionals early in their career, et cetera, how does that lesson apply to people? How to love your life as you grow older?
I think that getting older is not easy because we have expectations. Even if you think yourself with all the things that now we can do, thanks God. But the reality is that your inner is getting old.
Yeah.
And you are growing not only with different changes, physical changes,
Yeah.
that sometimes you don't like, but you have to accept.
Sure.
And more women, because we grow up with the experience that you have to be beautiful always, that you have to be perfect, even if you are not so beauty. But when you get older and you turn your head, you realize that you didn't do many things that you probably should do. If you didn't do it because you didn't, that's it. But that's something that we have to learn when we grow older. I have seen a lot of people of my age or older or younger that they are feeling like fail, you know, not happy when they grow and when they grow up because they start to focus on the past. In my time, kids never scream to the parents. I have heard a lot of times. Now my grandkids, they are terrible with the parents. And you say, okay, but that was your age. It's not this age. So how to grow older? Trying to become a wise older person, knowing that your time is not, it can be this time if you adapt to this time, but it's not what you think that it is. Because if you keep thinking that life has to be the way we were, as the song says, we are going to be always unhappy. So, what's my advice to the young people? Prepare to be older, prepare to changes, because not always when I grow up, I thought that my life when I was at this age was going to be very different. I think that is not, because that's why I'm still alive. So prepare to the changes that you don't expect, and life is going to put you. What changes? Bankruptcies or the world change,
Yeah.
the stocks go down, anything that you can, your health, you can be sick, and prepare not to be sick with two things. Your mind, every day say, I am a healthy person. I am happy. I affirmations, but with a good memory. And second thing is to prepare not only your money, not only your budget, but your health.
Yeah.
If you grow with energy, if you grow making things that make you happy, you can be forever young.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's a great point. And I'm also curious, looking at lesson number 10, the importance of mindfulness. And I'm curious, Tere, for our global audience, what is the true meaning of mindfulness?
The true meaning of mindfulness is carpe diem, here and now. That's it. I know that there's a lot of history and knowledge and etc. But the reality is to be mindfulness is that you like this. We are talking, we are face to face, and we are not with this phone or doing different things. And what I have seen, and that's very important, is that in this time, people and kids don't know how to mindfulness because they are multiple tasks. I
Yeah,
am in task since I was born, but when I am doing something, I focus on what I am. If I am walking, I take care of how to walk.
yeah,
It's incredible, but every step that I give, I say thank you. Thank you in my mind. And that made me focus on what I am doing.
interesting.
If I am cooking, I have to focus on what I am doing or I am going to get bored. I just did it last week. So, what is mindfulness? To be in the present, to be in the moment, and to spend the time that you have to spend with people watching to the eyes, even
Yeah,
because now we are so distracted and kids are so distracted. I am really worried about the new generation because they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to be mindfulness. I am teaching now in my counseling with mindfulness and meditation to kids because I think that they really need. When you told me the first question, sorry, maybe I am taking too much time.
no, you're fine.
When you told me the first question that what should I change when I was 25, probably I will change the concept of mindfulness and meditation because in that time wasn't important. Probably we don't even know it.
Yeah,
I was in Chokun learning Tai Chi, but it's one of the ways, that you can. But there are techniques that you can get it. And I am going to make my publicity in Elevate Excellence Coaching. We can tell you how.
yeah, and it is self-awareness, right? Being aware of
Yeah.
who you are as an individual and how you go through life, like you said, whether you're walking or cooking or whatever it may be, but to be aware of who you are, how you connect to other people around you.
Yeah, because we don't know how to connect. And that's incredible. Even in jobs, when we're working, we are in a team
Yeah,
and we don't connect. I can see it because I have been advertiser of big enterprises. And when I give this kind of capacitation or seminars, I tell them we have some exercises, but for instance, what are you wearing today? And sometimes we don't even know what we are wearing. It's incredible. What do you have in your purse or in your pocket? I can tell you that most people doesn't know what.
yeah, no, I know. I'm very much familiar with that. And we have to realize it can happen to us. We're not perfect and say, oh, I read about it, so now I know it. You have to apply it.
Yeah, yeah. It's incredible. So What is mindfulness? What you said, to be here in the present, but what is to be here in the present? To know yourself and to know the other persons that are surrounded. It's incredible when we go inside a house, we don't even realize if they have a picture, a painting, nothing. We just go sit. We are very good to criticize if we see something that we don't like, but we don't realize all the effort that the people in that house made to make you comfortable because they know that you were coming. That's to be mindful.
Yeah. I want to ask you another question. In addition to the 10 lessons you already shared, is there perhaps a lesson in your life that you have unlearned where you decided, I have to do it differently? Do you have an example of that?
I have so many.
Oh,
One, one, I am a very trustable person and I trust in almost everyone. That's a lesson that I have to learn, that not everybody is trusted. One lesson that I think that I learned is not to talk everything that you have to say. Because sometimes you say things with a good intention, or you say things thinking that the person you can trust on her or him and spread your truth. So it's terrible. So that's what the second lesson that I had. I still make mistakes in that one sometimes.
I do too. I was going to say, because that's for me an important lesson sometimes to stay quiet and listen instead of saying, oh, I can do this and oh, I can tell you that.
Yeah. And because they think it like, okay, now you do it. Okay. And probably the third lesson that I have to not to learn, but to reaffirm is to be more in this moment with love to me, to love myself much more. Because I love everybody, I give everybody, but there's a moment in life that you have to stop and say, okay, I have done all this, now what am I going to do for myself? Because this is the last part of my life. I know I'm not 20 years. So I have to learn how to capitalize my energy on me.
I'm sure it's not easy, but you have a lot of energy, if I can make that statement.
Yeah.
And you are very creative. So from that point of view, it seems to me that you have lots of options in your future.
Yeah, and what I can tell the last lesson is never stop having projects in your life.
Yeah?
Because when you stop, you are going to die. Everybody's gonna die, but you are not going to die with a purpose. So please die with a purpose. Don't die alive.
It's a harsh lesson to end with, Tere, but it's much appreciated. And I want to thank you for joining us today and for sharing your lessons of wisdom with our global audience. Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias a ti.
And in closing, you have been listening to our international program 10 Lessons Learned. This episode is produced, as always, by Robert Hossery, and we are supported by the Professional Development Forum. I also want to give special thanks to our amazing team, Yi Wang, who manages our marketing and social media, and Cody Camo, our episode editor. Our guest today is Tere Derbez, a well-known artist with a lifelong passion for painting and writing, sharing her 10 lessons learned. And to our audience, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss a lesson that could change your life and perhaps your career. Thank you for tuning in to 10 Lessons Learned, where we are making the world a little wiser, one lesson at a time. Thank you, and stay safe.